Here we are. It's another beautiful Sunday morning in Workshop Wasteland, and you took the time out of your day to stop by and watch my video, and I greatly appreciate that. In today's video, we're going to be making the fuel mixer, or also really just the carburetor if you want to call it that. That's what mixes the fuel with the air so the engine can run. Turned out really good. I think it's a great video. Super excited to get one more component done. We're getting really close to this thing running, which is super exciting. So without further ado, let's hop back here behind me to the lathe and see what we can do. Thanks for stopping by. Please don't forget to subscribe. Love it if you dropped a comment. We'll see you next week for the next video. Making this fuel mixer, I already drilled this hole. It was a number 23 drill, I believe. Sorry, a number 28 drill. I already drilled that through, and I drilled a 1/2 inch from the end. I'm going to try and do something similar to what Joe did and turn a bit of a taper on the end, because it does look really nice. But right now we need to drill 13/64 all the way through this part, so this is probably going to be time-lapsed. Okay, well, shockingly, that was a success. I don't have great luck drilling through brass. I know this is a lot of stick out, but I want to try and be able to make this whole entire part with only one setup. Alright, so we're going to cut some. This is a rounded tool in here. Oh, that's not exactly perfect, but it's not terrible either. I think we're going to go there. Trying to make this even here. I think we're going to quit while we're ahead right there, because that's not horrible. Like I said, it's not perfect, but I think it's probably good enough. See if we can't get this taper cut on the end of this part. think we're going to need a good bit more of an angle than that to make this look right. Well, I think that's going to look really stupid actually, because we have such a big space in here. I think that's going to look really dumb. I don't know what we could do any differently. Probably going to have to use like a pointed tool to get into there. Alright, back to the drawing board. Alright, let's try this again, but this time with a little bit better approach. So that's a piece of drill rod stuck accurately into that hole. Well, that's not perfect by any means, but it's just a cosmetic cut anyways. I don't necessarily love the way it looks, but I think we'll go with it for now. Now we need something that's going to get into there to bore this out on the inside. We're just going to crank back and forth and bore this out so it looks like a cone. Well, there's that anyways. Like I said, I kind of hate the way it looks. I may actually remake it because I think it looks like crap. But I guess it'll just have to be okay for now. We'll make a couple of fins, leaving 70 thousandths behind. Well, that's what I came up with. So let's part this bad boy off.
This has been a very, very messy operation. I don't know how well you can see, but there's a pile of brass here. Now we will flip this baby around. Kind of lightly clamp it in there. Hopefully that's clamped enough not to spin. I actually want to clamp it about right there. Because I need to be able to turn all the way up too. Alright, we need this to fit in this 1/4 inch hole that we bored. So it looks like we got a long ways to go yet, but I didn't want to overshoot it and have to throw this in the scrap bin. We're at 350, we need to go to 250. $285. Man, that's going to be a thin part that's left after we get this turned down. Looks like we have about 5 thou more to go. That's just a little bit too tight. That fits the way I want it to fit. Going to take just a little bit more off that. I'll try and show you later before I put this together, but yeah, I can't show you right now. You won't be able to see. I'll have to put the other lens onto my camera, but you'll see why I kind of left this a little bit extra long. So that should be that. Alright, well, here's where we are. This is the piece we just made with the whole board in it and our little cone on the end. I had to clearance some of this aluminum away just a bit for this to slip into there. This could be soldered in. I might use green Loctite. I'm not 100% sure yet. The only reason I'm saying that is I'd really hate for this not to work with solder. I don't always have the best results with soldering brass to steel, but that's what it's going to look like. Now we need to make this part, which is the carburetor, and this is a bit better of like an exploded view of what we're trying to make here. So you would be looking at this like this, and this part right here is stuck through there with one little tiny hole drilled in it, and basically this is a needle to control fuel flow, and then it's going to get sucked up into the engine on the intake stroke. So this essentially is the carburetor, just a needle and seat. I'm probably not going to make the needle and the little knob on camera, only because it's so straightforward and so simple. There's really nothing to it. You can see what it looks like there. But I do want to make this spray bar, or this carburetor venturi, I guess you could call it. I do want to make this piece on camera, and then I'll probably finish it up, solder it in, and all of that off camera. But this is a piece of 1.25 inch long brass is what they call for. So let's hop over to the lathe and get this sucker started. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy piece. We need to cut down 3/4 inch, and we need our carburetor piece to slide onto that. So let's first face this off. Alright, now like I said, we need to go in 3/4 inch, which is 750. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 50. Set my stop up against that and go to town here. Thinking maybe I should have drilled the hole in here first. Alright, I think that is good. I'm going to hit the very end of this with a file. Yeah. Lovely. Alright. There's that part. Alright, off camera I got this threaded. That was actually more difficult than it should have been. Now we have to spot drill this and then drill a number 55 hole, 5/8 of an inch deep. See if the drill bit wants to cooperate today. These little drills drilling that deep into brass are really easy to break off. So we'll see how it does for us today. Here goes nothing. Alright, I think we got lucky on that one. Okay, I think that's all we can do on this end of the part. Now we have to cut it off of the rod and flip it around. Got this part cut off and faced it down to length. The only thing we have to do now is turn this down for our fuel line and then drill a number 60 hole in through this into the other hole, which is going to create the seat for the needle. This is 7/64 fuel line, which is 109, and it fits on there tight enough. I think that would make a seal just fine. There's no pressure, so that should be good. And then, like I said, we got to drill a hole into there. Alright, chalk that up as a giant victory. We got that drilled through, which is just fantastic. Like I said, number 60 drill is incredibly easy to break off. So I'm very glad that I did not break that off. So now we'll see if the needle gets in there like it should. Sure feels like it's in the seat. You of course can't really see the hole in there or anything, but you have to take my word on it. There is what that's going to look like. This is another one of those pretty hard for you to see kind of things, and obviously I want to keep the camera away from the fire, but I got some flux on each side, and we're going to use just some kind of regular plumber solder for this because it's just brass on brass. So it should be pretty easy to solder. Try and get a real low flame on my torch here. This is definitely one of those hard for you to see situations, but you're going to have to take my word on it. I obviously don't want to get the torch too close to the flame. I think that got it. Have to let that cool off and take a look at it, but there it is, soldered in.